Is that set going? Is that going? Yeah. Right. Hi everybody. Hope everybody's well, keeping safe and looking after themselves. Last video I did, I think I touched on mental health a little bit, so I thought I'd elaborate a little bit more, especially with of late, certainly in the in the media, you know, mental health's come into the forefront again. So I thought I'd elaborate on my last video really, because I touched on my own mental health. So I will just speak about my own mental health and possibly, what helps for me, or how I've got to the stage where I'm at the moment, which is, I'm facilitating a decent life. But first, I'd like to say thank you to people that comment on my videos. Do like the comments. Press the like button. Dislike, it's up to you. Subscribe if possible. If I'll do my best to make more videos. So yeah, last video I touched on my own mental health a little bit. Now, the thing is with mental health, I mean, we're all different and we'll all cope differently. So my way's not necessarily your way, and I didn't particularly have a way as such, but I'll just give you a little bit of a background. I've suffered with mental health, or had problems with it. I think the vast majority of my life. I remember childhood being, I had problems with anxiety when I was a small child. I also, by the time I was 21, 22, a psychologist, and psychologists years ago was a bit different than they are now, as in how they treated you. Whereas now they just seem to do CBT, and therapists before, they worked a bit like a psychiatrist. So when I was 21, and I'm 52 now, I had been diagnosed with suffering multiple trauma through my childhood, mainly due to bullying and deaths. I'm not going to go into the traumas too much, because it's pointless. I've already done that with therapists, and it's not for me to not to go over that kind of thing again. But I mean, by the time I remember school being very traumatic when I first went to school. Sort of vaguely remember that, but I remember school in the early days was very traumatic, and I suffered some bullying at school and elsewhere as well. Then by the time I was like 7, 8, 9, 10, into my teens, I'd seen things that somebody so young shouldn't have been seeing. Without going into detail. But there was a lot of things that was horrific, really. And like I say, by the time I'd got to 21, a psychologist at the time had diagnosed me with suffering multiple trauma. I'd picked up. I'm also a recovering alcoholic as well. Been in recovery for over 13 years now. I'll do another video on that actually. But I picked up my first drink when I think it was around about 10 years old. Obviously paralytic, ill, whatever. And then obviously got to senior school at 11, and I was doing substances and drinking on a weekend. Doing anything on a weekend to get out your face, really. Get off your face. And then by the time, like I say, 17, I was dependent on alcohol. So anyway, the alcoholism is it's another video. But so the mental health. Now, once I stopped drinking, I mean, drink was the way I coped. one of the ways I coped, and it worked until that started fucking everything up. But that was obviously the way I coped at the time, from younger days to, well, 39 when I stopped drinking. Then once I'd stopped drinking, gone to the unit, detox unit, come off drink, done the aftercare, I'd set goals in aftercare, education, career, and then to travel. So once I'd stopped, come off the drink, I always remember it was about 3 months into my sobriety, I started getting really bad anxiety, and anxiety is one of the main things that's been a problem for me, really. I've had depression. I have a diagnosis of emotional unstable personality disorder and / borderline personality disorder, but anxiety, depression, part of that as well. So I'd noticed from 3 months in that I was starting to feel like crap, anxiety, fucking, you know, I was struggling to do things, you know, go to groups and things like that. I still went, but it was hard. And then obviously I started college in the year after, well, it's less, yeah, a year after, just under a year after being off the drink. And then I found college really difficult because of anxiety, really, really difficult. I used to make myself throw up on the train and all sorts of things. So really struggled with anxiety. Then I don't know which points in the 13 years I've been sober started having my first therapy. It was counselling, person-centred. So I started doing that, and I think that lasted for quite a while actually. It lasted for about 12 months. Went through that, spoke about all sorts of things. I also had CBT. Now the first time I had CBT, I didn't reckon anything of it. I didn't like the homework. I just didn't like. I don't think I liked at the time. I think it was probably, obviously it was the wrong time. I didn't like the structure of it. I think it reminded me of school really, and that was obviously a traumatic thing on its own. So I think maybe that I sort of rebelled against the CBT. So the first time I had CBT, hated it. So plodded along, struggling, in and out of education. Never gave up though. At times when I would sack everything off and, you know, sort of, how can I put it, refrain from society a bit and stop doing like things like education. I was in and out of like college and in and out of like doing my maths and English and whatever, learn direct, so I could drop in and out sort of thing, things like that. And that went on for a few years, and then after I went back into my GP and said, I'm really struggling with this. This is a nightmare. I can't go on with life. And I got sent for CBT again. And this is probably after about 3-4 years of me sobriety, really, in alcohol sobriety. Maybe longer. I got sent for CBT again. I thought, oh Jesus, not that shit again. But this time, because I was a bit more mature with me being off drink and white, you know, for years then, I thought, well, there's nothing to lose. I already feel like shite, so there's nothing to lose, so I went for it. Had my assessment. They said, I think it was about 8 to 10 weeks they offered at first, but then once we got into therapy, it lasted near 12 months. It was 12 months, I think. Now, again, did it work temporarily? It worked. I got some relief from my problems, but once therapy had finished, it slowly was relapsing again. So, and the things I'd learnt with CBT, like you're supposed to really learn to be your own therapist, really, as time goes on. But however, you know, it didn't work the second time. It worked to a degree the second time, you know, temporarily. But you know, what I'd learned, it went, and you know, I ended up suffering again with the anxiety, and depression came in because I was pissed off. I couldn't get on with, you know, all sorts of things going on. There was, so yeah. Well, to cut a long story short, I ended up going back for therapy again a few years later. I mean, I could talk all night with this, but I'm not going to because it'd take forever. And I haven't got enough memory, I don't think, on my phone. So anyway, I ended up going for CBT again for the third time, and I got real stuck into it. Again, it was about another year's worth, because initially I got the 8 weeks or 10 weeks, whatever it was, and then obviously the therapist thought, shit, it'll take longer. Great therapist the third time, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Got on with him, worked hard, I worked hard at it. During that time, he suggested, after the CBT had finished, to do CAT, which is cognitive analytic therapy, and that's to do with things that happen in childhood and patterns of things, and quite complicated CAT. You do some, you know, you do some strange stuff in, well, it's strange, but you do some different stuff in the CBT. So I'd had, you know, the 12 months of CBT, and I got referred to CAT, and that was another 12 months roughly. And then I did actually start feeling all right. In the meantime, I was tried on sertraline up to 200 milligram, came off it because that ended up shit. All right at the beginning, but then ended up, as you'll probably see on some of the videos if you look back at them, then ended with duloxetine, 120, up to 120 to 60 milligram, 260 milligram tablets, along with the mirtazapine, which I've been on for about 9 years, 10 years, and quetiapine, 50 milligram. I was on 100, but I got down to 50. Probably going to try and get up that. And that worked quite well. So bear in mind, I'd had CAT, CBT, which didn't work so bad. During those times, this third lot of CBT and the CAT, I was at university doing counselling and psychotherapy. I did 2 years of a 3-year degree, couldn't afford the third year because personal circumstances changed. Kind of a struggle on and off at university, but not as bad as when I first started college years ago. So me personally thought, you know, therapy had done something, along obviously with medication. So fast forward to now, and you'll have probably seen on some of the other videos, I now use the CBD oil, which for me, along with the therapy and the continuous not giving up, if you will, with therapy, plus obviously medication, because I know some of the medication did get me out of a dark place. Whether that's sustainable or whether that's working now, I don't know, but I do know this is. So fast forward to now, like I say, I do use the CBD with my medication now. I said it on the other video, I don't know if this is just this working, or is it working as a combination? I don't know. So what I'm trying to say is, and I've had to keep it brief really, what I'm trying to say is, I personally have, you know, I've been through it, I really have. And what I'm trying to say to you is, there's always some hope. I know it doesn't seem like it, because I've been in this place where I'm cutting myself, and not terribly deep, but you know, harming myself, and it's an awful place to be. It really is. It's a nasty place to be, that. However, there's a way, and if you keep accessing support eventually the support will work. We need support. Support's important, and to be fair, I'd imagine these days with services cut, it's probably even harder to access. But ring, there's numbers to ring. Samaritans in this country. There's probably stuff in other countries, in America and where else anybody's watching from. But don't throw the towel in, and keep trying. I know it's damn hard. You don't want to try. You just want to. You don't want to get up. You don't want to. You don't want to do anything. But you can. It is possible. Find a way. Because once you do, you don't regret it. Now, I've got an education. I've got a decent job. I enjoy the job, and I'm able to travel a little bit. And like I say, I had my first run into Europe on my own. Now, there's no chance of me being able to do that even 3 years ago. But what I'm trying to say is, it is possible. Ring someone, speak to someone, because eventually, if you keep doing it, like I say, it may not work the first time, it may do. For me it didn't, but it may do for you. Keep trying. Have some goals. Set some goals what you'd like to do. Might not be able to do them straight away. Mental health recovery can take a while. It took me a bloody long while, to be fair, good 12 years. Like I say, there were bits where I felt alright, but then relapsed. And there were times when I thought, this is bollocks, it's never going to go away, but it does. You can't, well, you'll find a way, and obviously I've found the CBD oil, and that's working for me at the moment. If it stops, I'll go back and get help. Cramp. But what I'm trying to say is, keep trying. Keep trying. Access as much support as possible. Because there is support out there. Don't throw the towel in. Because you'll be surprised. You'll be able to do it. You can do it. I'm not going to say if I can, you can, because that's daft. I hear that said, well, sometimes I think it's stupid. We're all different, and we're all going to take it's going to take different times for each one of us. But the end goal can be exactly the same. I still have little bouts of anxiety, but it's only the anxiety that's that we need. I mean, you can't be anxiety free, or else that'd be dangerous. You need to have a certain amount to keep us alive. The other thing I would say during your recovery in mental health is exercise and food. Eat a good diet, eat good food, eat good quality food. It's not expensive. For example, the reason I say with food, nutrition, just take, for example, at next time in a supermarket, pick up a packet and look at the chemicals in it. I mean, we don't know what they are. You know? If you was to eat more whole foods, you will feel better. Exercise. Just walk. You know, go to the gym. Walk. Walking's brilliant. And build up the pace and distance. You know, it's proven. It's proven to help. So's nutrition. And the want to do it. But it can be done. But I do know it's, you know, it can be so difficult. Mental health is such a difficult thing to overcome, especially when you're feeling like shit. But keep asking for support. whatever support that is, even if it's a phone call, do it. It can be done. I personally, you know, I now, like I said, I have a good job. I'm able to travel a bit. I've done education. I'm thinking of finishing off my degree. So yeah, it can be done. Keep going. Keep swimming above the tide. You can do it. Right, I've probably, if you've got this far, and I don't know how long I've been waffling on, can't see on there. That's my chicken cooked. It's, Jesus, 20 minutes. Yeah, keep trying. Keep trying. Because you can do it. Right, I'm going to leave it at 20 minutes because that's long enough. Take forever to load up. Right, I hope it's of help. I hope it's a little glimmer of hope, because any little bit of hope's that might be just enough. Keep well, keep safe, speak to someone, and like I say, you can drop us a message, a comment, hit like, dislike, and subscribe. Share the videos. Right, keep well, speak to you all soon.